Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and LGMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful look out there, pushing His word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of Him. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners that have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Alright, coming with another quick lesson going into, wondering after the beast. Because you hear a lot about this beast system, the image of the beast, the mark of the beast. So let's kind of go into, what this beast, what it consists of. What is the beast? What does it comprise of? To have an understanding. So we're going to start at Revelation 13:3, and it says, "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death." Now, this head that is speaking of that was wounded was the Roman Empire, all right? Because when you jump up, to Revelation 13:1, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea." And the sea is representative of the people, because empires spring out from among people. An empire started from amongst people. Even going back to the Roman Empire, it started, as a little farming village, in Italy, and grew into, an empire. It came from amongst the people. It came out of the midst of the people. So this beast, that John the Revelator is seen rising out of the sea, is going into, Esau's power structures that would have dominion in the earth, and it's going to break them down. When you go into the beast having 7 heads and 10 horns, and those 7 heads represents Esau's power structure and his main, empires that had influence in the earth. When you deal with the Greeks, you deal with the Spanish, you deal with the French, Germania Major, Germania Minor, Rome and Britain. Those are those 7 heads that had major influence in the earth of Esau's power structure. And those 10 horns, are these 10 nations, these vassal nations, to these power structures that have risen, out of Esau. This beast, So this beast system, when you talk about this beast, it represents Esau's power structures, from the beginning, from going back to the Greeks all the way until now, which is mainly concentrated in America, man. And also the NATO, and EU. And the EU are those 10 horns of today. You see? So it says, "And upon his heads the names," I said, "upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy," man. Because these 10 horns, receive, a form of power. These EU nations have a form of power within this beast system. They have different trade benefits. They get the, when you look at Britain and France and Spain and, Germany, all these different nations, they have, different perks by being joined onto this beast system. They get different breaks and, different trade deals that they get to partake in because they owe this beast system. So they have some form of rulership. That's why, they have 10 crowns on those horns. You see? I'm going to jump down to 13 again. It says, "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed." Now, this wound, is speaking of the Roman Empire, the pagan Roman Empire, which was wounded when Esau Edom was pushed back, into the Caucasus Mountains, man. When he was pushed out of rulership, and eventually Jake, supplanted them, and that's what you have, the Holy Roman Empire, which they was off too, but dealing with the Byzantine Empire, dealing with Constantine, and on throughout history, all the way up until the Renaissance when Esau's deadly wound was healed. And now let's deal with that a precept, that bags that up. When you go to Malachi 1, and 4, and it said, this is Malachi 1 and 3. It says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains, all right, his governments, and his heritage waste, his lands, for the dragons of the wilderness. Yeah, because like I say, that pagan Roman Empire was ruled by Esau Edom. Going back to your Julius Caesars, your Augustus, your Caligula, all right, your Claudius, all those were Edomite, all right, Caesars, and most of the citizens were Edomites, and you had other, nations as slaves, you see. But there was Esau's mountains, his governments. There was his, the Roman Republic, the Senate. There was his mountains, but the Lord laid all their waste, through Jake supplanting them, during what they call the Dark Ages. All right. It says, whereas Edom saying we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. So that was Esau's head being wounded. He was impoverished. The Roman Empire, all right, was impoverished. But they returned and built the desolate places. Thus said the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al-Shah of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. So from the Renaissance period, the late 1400s, mid 1400s, until what we have today, Esau Edom has been in the process of building back up. There was that wound, all right, being healed. What we seen from the slave trade, the free labor they got, the riches they gained, off of slavery, the banking system. All these things was part of their womb, being healed, and it says they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, the people whom the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shah have in the nation forever. And now we're in a time where this place is about to be thrown down, and the prophecy mentions that, all throughout, the scriptures, So let's go back to Revelations 13. And what does it say? All right. And it says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, the Roman Empire, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. Yeah, because this way of life, especially here in America, the world wondered, after this way of life, man. Everyone, wanted to be, everybody wanted to mimic, this American system, this westernized way, because America, is the vocal point of this new Roman Empire. You see, because you get into the word wonder, all right, in the Greek. All right, because the whole earth is influenced, by this beast system, man. All right, and the word Greek, and the word in the Greek.
G2296, Thalmazo. Thalmazo.
All right, it says to wonder at. All right, to marvel, to be wondered, to be had in admiration. All right, so let's get that word admiration. And you get that word, admiration. It says respect and warm approval. It says something regarded as impressive or worthy of respect, pleasurable contemplation, man. You see, so people had a very high regard, and they was impressed, all right, at this American empire, man. The opportunities that America would, provide, where you can come, their free enterprise capitalism, where you can come, start different businesses and, try different opportunities, and, you can come from rags to riches. You see, you got so much pleasure at your convenience, and people marveled, after this beast, man. They wondered after this beast. They had great admiration for this beast, man. And the scriptures describe it, man. When you go into all right, the book of Nahum, chapter 3, all right, verse 4. It says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, in America, what is that harlot? It's that harlot that rides on that beast, which we're going to get that. It says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored, all right, you go to the word well-favored, all right, And the Hebrew is Tawab. Tawab. All right. And what does it mean? It says good, pleasant. All right. Good, rich, valuable in estimation. All right. Good, appropriate. All right. Glad, happy, prosperous of man's sensuous nature. You see? And America was all these things, man. America for a long time was looked at as a dreamland. You know, you had immigrants flocking in. You got even now, which this was Issachar, and Gad and Reuben land, before, all right, Esau came over, but now they flocking to come back to it. You see, why is that, man? Because this was their all right, favorite harlot, man. It said, go into that word, con, all right, and it says favor, grace, charm, elegance, acceptance, man. And that's what America has been. America has been accepted as the moral standard of the earth for a long time, man. But now, all right, the skirt is being lifted. It says the mistress of witchcraft, which is the master, all right, the feminine way of saying master, all right, the mistress of witchcraft that sell of nations through a whoredom family through her witchcraft, because all the nations that marveled after America are now seeing, the effects of it, man. Their societies are in an uproar, man. The people are very displeased with the way the government is being ran, because these governments have sold out to this beast system. You see? And it says, behold, I am against thee, said the Lord Yahweh Shema of hosts. I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And that's what's been happening, man. This well-favored harlot that people love is now being exposed, and even through that, you still have people that are wondering, all right, after this beast, So let's go to Revelation 17, all right. This is Revelation 17:3. It says, so he carried me away in the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names and blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abomination and filthiness of her fornication. So this woman, all right, it's the same harlot mentioned in Nahum the 3rd chapter. You see that well-favored harlot, and say she was decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. Yeah, because you look at America, America has been decked out, man. All this convenience, all these, restaurants and bars and clubs, strip clubs, shopping centers, sports arenas, all these things, hey, this place has been decked out, man. The American dollar has been the currency, all right, in the global economy, going on 70, 80 years. You see, this place has been decked out. It has enjoyed, the riches, all right, of the spoils, all right, of America, man. You see, and it says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. Now, when you go, all right, into the interlinear, all right, and you go into Babylon, all right, in the Greek.
Strong's G 897. Babylon.
All right. Now I'm gonna get down to definition C. It says allegorically of Rome as the most corrupt seat of idolatry and the enemy of Christianity, which we mean the enemy of Yahweh Shai. All right, because it speaks about also why our Lord was crucified. This place is spiritually Rome. All right, spiritually Egypt and Sodom. And it's the mystery Babylon, man. But it has a real heavy influence of Rome in terms of its lifestyle, man. All right, and a lot of people are in admiration of this lifestyle. Where it's all about your flesh, it's all about your status, it's all about clout. It's all about self worship. It's all about all right, doing whatever it takes to be on top, man. It's all about being seen. It's all about individualism. All right, on narcissism. You know, everyone's in love with their self. And there's no, really no regard of a higher power. There's no regard of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, and that was the way of ancient Rome, man. All right, it was a very carnal, fleshly, self-worship, kingdom, man. And we see that today, especially within nigga culture, man, within thug culture, man. Jake has really, our people has really, embodied, that vibrational Rome, that lifestyle, heavy into idolatry. All right, worshiping women, there was heavy idolatry back then, man. All right, Diana of Ephesus, you see, there was Jake that was all into that shit, man. You see, it's the same thing going on today, man. This lifestyle, all right, that we see that people love goes back to that ancient way of the pagan Roman Empire, man. Verse 6, and it says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahweh Shai, and I saw her and I wondered with great admiration. So this is even John the Revelator. He wondered, with great admiration, after the woman, man, showing you how appealing America is to the flesh, man. To the flesh, man, this place is very appealing. That's why one of our main battles, within this ministry is conquering the flesh. Because if we conquer the flesh, man, we can maneuver, all right, better within this society without being caught up, And it says, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carried her, with which had the 7 heads and 10 horns, which is the same beast in Romans 13 chapter that we went over. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. And that's going back to the Renaissance period, man. And it's came back and go into perdition, which is destruction, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder. You see? So when from the time of the Renaissance until what we see today, the earth has wondered after this beast, man. Has greatly admired this beast system, man. That's why you see these other nations having presidents now, suits and tie, having elections. You see this money system, this capitalism, all that goes back, to the beast. So these nations have wondered after this beast, which means they greatly admired, and was at all at this beast, man, And it says, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. Yeah, so the people that marvel after this beast, speaking to you Israelites, because these nations, they don't have a chance to be written in the book of life, But to you Israelites, the Israelites that are not written in the book of life, they're going to be in love with this system. They're going to be in love with this type of society. They're going to love this lifestyle. They're going to love the pleasures of this life, man. You see? So that's what we see, Jake putting all their energy into this society because they're wondering after the beast and they're not written in the book of life, man. So this is all they got. All right? It says, when they beheld the beast, there was and is not and yet is. Yeah, because you had the Roman Empire that was, then it went away, and then it came back, man. And the spirit of that pagan Roman Empire, that lifestyle that they was partaking in, it came back. You see? And it says, let's go from there. All right, let's go back to Revelation, the 13th chapter, man. And this is Revelation 13:4. It says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. Yeah, because if you're, if you love this lifestyle, this society, you're fighting to try to get that normalcy back, you worshiping that old pagan all right, Roman lifestyle, man. Because look, people are heavy into Christmas, which goes back to Saturnalia, a heavy pagan traditional Rome. You know, that was full with all type of abomination. You know, you can look it up. All right, this like I say, this women worship. You know, this self worship. You know, this that's why social media, Instagram. You know, there's more selfies taken. You know, than anything, man. You know, people take more selfies per day, you know, than they read a Bible scripture, man. People might take 20 selfies a day and read no scriptures, man. Showing you what? It's a self-worship, a heavy spirit of self-worship, man, which goes back to that pagan, all right, Roman Empire, man. You know what? You know, Rome was big on statues of the Caesars, where you will worship the statues, and you know all these different images that you will worship. It's the same thing today. You know, you know, liking and commenting on all these different pictures and photos, man. That's you what giving your energy into that image, man. You see? And it says, and they worship the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, or who is able to make war with him? Yeah, having that mindset like this would never end. You know? People don't see American army, you know, being defeated. You know, that's unheard of, man. That's the last thing on someone's mind, the American military being defeated, man. You know, and this is the mindset of these people. That's why they live their lives with no care. That's why scriptures talk about, you know, the land where they deal carelessly, man. This is it, man. You see? But see, the Lord, all right, he hates this place, man, and he's finna make a move and ultimately destroy this place, man. And that's why the scriptures are written, you know, like they're written. Because see, it's beautiful. You know, you can tell the Lord purposely set it up, you know, where you had Yahushua come during the peak of the Roman Empire, you know, what they call Pax Romana, you know, Pax going into peace, you know, so supposedly the most peaceful times of Rome, when people were just enjoying, all right, the pleasures and the luxury, you know, of the Roman Empire. You know, you still had wars and particular things, but for the most part, you know, there was a lot of, you know, decadence going on, man. You see? And so that's why, you know, he read the epistles. It's all about what? Controlling the flesh. A lot of the epistles written to the churches about what? Overcoming the flesh, controlling the flesh, man. You see, even in the book of Romans, when you go into the 7th chapter, the 8th chapter, you know, is mainly about what? Controlling the flesh, man. Being, you know, in the spirit and not being ruled, you know, by the flesh. Because this is what this system consists of. Matter of fact, I get that. All right. This is Romans 8 and 5. It said, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. You see? Because the flesh and the spirit war against each other. You know, because the flesh wants to enjoy the earth and don't care who's ruling. They don't care nothing about laws. You know, they don't care nothing about right or wrong. You know, the flesh ain't got no morals. It just wants to enjoy and be pleasure. You see? But the spirit, all right, that's where you get order from. You know, that's where you get, you know, a conservation of life from. You see? That's the spirit sees the bigger picture. The flesh is just engulfed in the right now. You know? Because in our kingdom, we will have pleasure, but it's going to be done in righteousness, man. Everything here is corrupted and defiled and has a wicked vibration on it, man. You know? It said, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Yeah, because there's a peace, you know, when we maneuver, you know, within the spirit and we not ruled by the flesh, man. You know, when you operate in the flesh, man, you have this, you know, this guilt. You know, you have this shame looming over you, man. You see, but when we operate in the spirit, it's a peace that comes with that, man. You know, that obedience, that discipline, you know, that comes with being in the spirit. You know, and this is for a time period until we get into our kingdom, and then we will get to enjoy the earth. We will get to enjoy pleasures and righteousness, man. Things won't be just for the sake of pleasure, man. Like the example of sex, you know. Esau has just turned sex into a hobby. You know, sex was meant to bring forth legacy, man. You see, and the feeling that we get from it, that pleasure, was just an incentive to keep doing it, man, to be fruitful and multiply. You know, but right now it's just a hobby, and that's just one example. You know, but hey, in the kingdom we're gonna enjoy these things in their fullest and in their right purpose, man. You know, um, let's go from there to get another epistle. All right, this is First John 1, and this is First John 1, and also like First John 2 and 15, and he says, all right, love not the world, neither things that are in the world. And it's talking about this society. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. All right, because if you love this society, there is no way you can love Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, because he despises this place, you know, which we're going to get. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but of the world. You see? These things are of the world, man. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes. You know, you always want, every time you see something new, you know, you gotta holler at, you know, you see 20 women, you gotta holler at all 20 of them. That's the lust of the eyes, man. You know, every money scheme you see, you want in on it. You know, the pride of life, you know, you so proud of your status and your career that you got. You always throwing your title, you know, your status around. You know, that's the pride of life, man. You know, and that's not of the Father, you see, but is of the world. And it says, and the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. Yeah, because this whole system is going to pass away. The scripture talk about the elements being burnt up with fervent heat, man. That's this whole system. Not only the buildings and, you know, America being destroyed, but also, you know, this mindset, all right, this way of living that's finna pass away. All right, but he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever, because we are being groomed for an eternal way of existing, man. Not this temporal, corruptible way, man. You know. So let's get that in Luke. Well, let me get that in Psalms first. You know, Psalm 73. All right. And 20. It says, as a dream when one awaketh, so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. And see, how Bashim Shai hates this whole society, the way it's ran, the people that's running it, the behavior, the people that's in it. You see, he's going to despise this whole image, and that's why the slaying of the Lord going to be from one end of the earth unto the other, man. So Yahweh Shem Al Shai finna put some correction in the earth, man. You know, so we don't want to be caught up, you know, wandering after the beast, you know, during this time of judgment, man. And that's why Yahweh Shai, which he was, you know, born in the peak of the Roman Empire, man. You know, and he gave us this advice, man. You see, this is Luke 21, and I started 33. It says, heaven and earth shall pass away, speaking of this rulership, but my word shall not pass away. Yeah, because, you know, what's within the word, man? All right, the deliverance, you know, hey, the rulership that's to come, you know, that's not going to pass away. You see, but this is going to pass away, so we shouldn't be caught up in the temporary. This rulership and this current earth, the condition that it's in, that's going to pass away, man. So we shouldn't be caught up in these things, man. You know, we should be occupied in the prophecy and the hope of what's to come. Verse 34, and take heed to yourself, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with some fighting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that the day come upon you unawares. Yeah, because this is that society that's caught up in, you know, being carefree, you know, partying, you know, chasing your lust, chasing your pleasures all day, you know, and you can be caught up in this, you know, if we don't take heed to ourselves, man, because these things are happening, you know, these things are unfolding, because the scriptures say, You know, they gonna think because victuals shall be so good cheap on earth, they shall think themselves to be in good case. But even then shall evils grow upon the earth, man. Famine, the sword, all right, and destruction, man. You know, these things are still happening, man. Just because you see people still in their mirth, still, trying to, party, like it's 99, these things, these prophecies are still walking this place down. All right? It said, for as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. It says, watch ye therefore and pray always that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and stand before the Son of Man, man. Because these people will be caught off guard, because these prophecies are going to creep up on them, man. And it's going to catch them unaware. It's going to be on the whole earth, man. And how shall coming as a thief in the night. And he's coming to take the rulers out of power, to destroy the infrastructure of this beast system and set up his kingdom, man. And we don't want to be caught up wandering after the beast, while Yahweh Shai is in the midst, of destroying this place, man. So just want to put that out there, Lord will. You brothers and you sisters are edified, until the next time. Shalom, Kwam Yashala, Abba, Abba, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Shai, Call Halayim La Yahweh, Bashim Al Shai, Aman.